Howdy, hey, hello, it's McKenna, and this is Munch and Mingle. What is up, you guys? We are back. It's another week. I also want to apologize for last week's episode. So every time I go to hit record on my computer, my notes disappear. So I'm always trying to reopen them back when I'm doing my intro. And last week did not happen as quickly as it usually does. And there's like a 10-second gap of just me being quiet as I'm pulling it up. And then it's usually at the bottom. So I have to scroll all the way back to the top. And yeah, it's a whole thing. So apologize for that. Hopefully you made it through that. Usually I just go through and edit it out. But that was an episode. Yeah, we did it like nighttime. So I was just like, just get it up, get it going. And once again, we are here at night, Sunday night, getting this episode out so that you guys can have it first thing in the morning. And yeah, just weekends. Weekends are getting harder. This was birthday palooza weekend / anniversary, 7 years. Shout out Britain. And then ward council today, family dinners. So it just happens where it's like, oh, there's just no time. But I really, really wanted to make sure I got this episode out to y'all because this was an interesting week. And I'm actually really excited to talk about it. And I'm really grateful for the talk that I had through the week to get through it. So here we go. Today's talk that we are focusing on is Coming Home by Elder Gilbert, one of our newest apostles. And did I say that right? Elder Gilbert? Yes. Okay. Like I said, I have everything open, but if I open back to the other browser, everything moves. And so, yeah, bear with me if I'm not saying that all correctly. And what we're going to do, I'm going to try to explain this, is I'm going to go through the bio, just like we always do. And this one's going to be different because it's actually when he was called back in 2022 to the education commissioner. I thought it was in the 70s. I think it was. But this was before he was called an apostle. I think it might be on his newest biography. I'll double check. But also, before we get into the talk, we're going to go through some of the thoughts in my head. I just wanted to make sure we started with the bio because one of those thoughts does lead in to Elder Gilbert's conference address. So just wanted to give you the heads up, the preface before we do that. So in his bio, again from 2022, they talk about the Gilbert Academy, which is something that Elder Gilbert's family does or did, I'm assuming still does. And this is something I heard when he first got called, and I might have already talked about this on a past episode. So if I have, I apologize, but this just is so fascinating to me. And it really, both Britt and I were like, this is awesome. Like, we want to do this. Whether you're homeschooling or not, it's an incredible idea. And from what I gather, they had 8 children and they didn't homeschool and they still did this with their family. Education is a huge part in their family. And so it's just really cool to see that they truly embodied that in all that they could do. So in the biography, the Academy is the family's annual summer trip and the educational buildup to that trip. So Elder Gilbert and his wife combined travel and learning as focal experiences for their 8 children. With a new destination selected each Christmas, the family spends 6 to 7 months preparing reports and discussions on a variety of themes and topics about the area they're going to. Everything from local culture to the local cuisine. Gilbert Academy also emphasizes learning about the church's history and presence in that area, and also attending worship services there. And it says, we wanted our children to know you can engage and be part of the world and stay grounded in the gospel. There's no place you can go where you can't stay strong in your faith, and no place you can go where the church doesn't have a presence, Elder Gilbert said. That was a really important part of our travel, and we wanted them to feel like they could learn and discover, and the gospel would be right there no matter where we went. I love that. And I just thought it was so cool. We're going to Newport this summer, and I'm like, that's just like so much fun to even think. I've been there so many times, and yet there's still probably things that I'm like, I didn't even know this, and like the history of everywhere we go. So that's definitely something we want to do. I mean, granted, our oldest is 5, so it might still be pretty watered down, but even just something that Britt and I can do together. So, okay, now we're going to kind of go into the main meat of the talk. And before we do, I need to apparently slow down because my lungs are on fire, or they're like, hey, you got to calm down. And that could be also because a baby is pressing into them. But I apologize beforehand. It could be, there's a lot of emotion, a lot of things that have happened just this week that have kind of been a weighing down. So this is me releasing, me giving you the permission to also release whatever you're holding on to. We'll take a deep breath and exhale. Welcome to Munch and Mingle Yoga. So as I was trying to set up this talk, so many thoughts, so many questions and answers were going around in my head. As we talked about in the last 2 episodes, certain things would come up that I was looking for. And while the talks wouldn't directly hit it, it almost like opened up a new idea to answer or to help with that question or thing. But then this week happened, and it's almost like boom, boom, boom. Direct answer, direct thought, direct direction, all of that. So it's been a full-on week. And that's when I knew, as I was sitting here trying to come together for this episode, that I was like, this is time for a thoughts in McKenna's head. I think we have about 4 of them on this podcast, and they truly are my favorite types of episodes. I hope they are yours if you've heard any in the past. But basically, I just get to release the pressure valve in my head, and hopefully one of the many thoughts that go on in my head, but that we talk about, maybe it's also a thought that you've had, or maybe you have an answer or wisdom, something to share with me on it. I appreciate it, and I invite it. Yeah. So I don't know if this happens to anyone else, where it's just like everything collides at one moment, and I'm like, this is the place we're just going to talk about it and talk about, hey, here's what I've come to find or hear about. And you get a little bit of more of a snapshot into McKenna's life. So welcome to Thoughts in McKenna's Head, coupled with a conference talk, because one of the main thoughts, like I said, we'll get into this conference talk. So stay tuned for that. First thought, the new 2nd hour church block time, how that's going to be divided, the 2 25 minutes, Sunday school, and then Relief Society, Elders Quorum, or youth. What are your thoughts? Honestly, we're in primary right now, and we have a split primary. So this is what I've been doing since November. Been very used to the 25 minute. And that was my first thought when I heard it announced. I was like, yeah, this is great, because it's great for the kids. Why wouldn't it be great for the adults? And the more I've kind of thought about it is, just getting insights from, we have a lot of teachers in my ward and in this area. And it's very interesting just to hear how kids' attention spans are today versus like back when I was a kid. And it makes sense, like so much, I don't even know how to say it. Like so much is getting thrown at them in quick, fast little bites. And so, of course, I've seen the church really good at answering that for our kids. Is we have 25 minutes of singing time or a lesson, and then you switch. You go for 25 minutes to then your class or into singing time, And it really is good. It's a great reset for us as the adults. And so again, when I heard it, I was really excited. I was like, this is going to be good. This is going to be good for the whole church body. And I did hear some, not contradicting, but just some worried thoughts, like, how on earth are we going to teach a lesson in 25 minutes, especially where you hadn't been and you're adults and you can probably take in more than kids can. But I didn't see the harm in it because we were doing it. I mean, I had adult teachers doing this for kids. And so I just was like, yeah, of course we could do that for adults. But yeah, is it going to go away with the same power for them if you're having to really, really cut down on all of the excess in a lesson? And I actually heard a really great point from a sister in my ward. Shout out, Sister Roberts, you're amazing. She goes and tells me like, oh, I've heard your podcast. I listen to your podcast. I'm like, what are you doing? You can't tell me that. Sometimes I just think I'm here talking to myself. And I'm so grateful when I hear people are, in fact, listening to the show that are in my direct vicinity. But it just like, sometimes I stop and I'm like, you do? Really? You listen to this? But thank you. Shout out, Amy. She had a really good thought today because she just got called into Sunday school. And hopefully you're okay if I share this, but I thought it was so great. And so, I asked her like, how are you feeling? This is so great. You get to go be a part of this new thing. And she admitted, yeah, it was hard to think about in the beginning. Like, how am I going to do this? We could miss out on the whole meat of a lesson just because how are you going to fit it all into 25 minutes? But I really there were two things. So sorry, sticking with what Sister Roberts said. I love that she said, you know what? It really is now our duty to get informed, to be on top of our own reading and study so that when we do go to class, that 25 minutes is truly time for discussion. And mostly it's going to be like, hey, let us find the main point, the main doctrinal point that we are needing to pull out of this lesson and go forward with that. And is that a bad thing? No. I think that's exactly what we need. No more fluff, no more stuff. Like it's kind of been obvious with everything they've been doing to get to this point. But clearly we are getting back to the basics, and just like in primary, get to the main point. We don't have time right now. Something is clearly urging us on and frantically almost like, hey, we got to get ahead of this. So we all need to be on the same page about what is the most important thing. And I just think that was so great. And again, it was just a reminder of, hello, this is the time that we need to be spiritually ready. We have been told it. How many times have we heard the quote from President Nelson? And it's so true. Like, it's here. It's now. And I'm so grateful that we have a first presidency who's like, we're doing this. We're all going to do it together. We don't have to be afraid. We're all going to figure this out together. But I really do believe this is going to be a good thing. The other thing I thought, thought that just came in, I had ward council today, and one of the big thoughts, questions is, well, what do we do about the announcements? And that's honestly, this is actually something that's been really hard for me in primary is we have little to no time for announcements. And so I've just been trying to fit in whatever I could. But most of my audience, not, who I'm talking to is kids. So it's me trying to get like a really important notice or a little tidbit to the adult teachers. But any time that I take for those announcements, it's taking away from my chorister. It's taking away from the singing time. And we know that is truly a huge point of primary right now. And I've seen that. I've seen the blessing of the more time we are singing, the more the Spirit is there and being blessed. And so it was just interesting as we were talking about it in ward council today, like it's clearly going to be an issue for a lot of all the auxiliaries now. Well, okay, how do we utilize technology to basically get out the information? And what if there are those people who just aren't on that technology boat for whatever reason, whether it just be personal preference, generation, whatever it is. And that was kind of the main thought that hit me today, is like, wow, the church is really emphasizing the use of technology as a tool. And maybe it's not necessarily, I don't want to say like it's not important, but they don't want it to detract from what is the most important thing, especially when we're at church. And that kind of hit me like, okay, again, something clearly is coming that I don't know if it's so worrisome to make sure that on a Sunday we know like, hey, there's this activity this week. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's like we are here on a Sunday and we need to get to the most important thing, which is, the sacrament and being together to worship, or to feel the Spirit, to worship together. So that was a really cool thought and a really cool, just kind of seeing this. I don't know. I could be completely off base. And maybe if the first presidency were to ever hear Munch and Mingle, they'll be like, no, actually, Sister Hogan, who knows? Maybe. I don't know. But it made sense to me, those two things. So that was one thought. Now leading into the second thought, I had a conversation with my bishop after ward council today. And it was so weird when I even asked him, I said, hey, do you have like a second? I know it's Sunday. You've probably got loads of meetings. And guys, how in the world? He didn't. He's like, no, I've actually got some time. And I was like, wow, okay, all right. I had been wanting to talk to him, not about anything specific, more a generalization of just questions. And I was reminded, and I'm so grateful, just one, go to the source, and two, how everything comes back to our faith in Jesus Christ. What do I mean with one, go to the source? I am shocked until today, I don't think I would ever be like, oh, if I have this general question, I want to see how my bishop would handle this, that I could just go talk to him about that. And I don't know if that's helped because, again, I was in ward council. I was right there. We know each other. We obviously talk in regards to primary and whatnot. So I felt more comfortable to be like, hey, let me just run this past you. What do you think? Maybe it'd be different if I didn't have that. But even still going into this, I was like, can I just ask you, like, how do you address this problem or this situation? And it was really cool because I realized, like, wow, we actually should be utilizing this more. I heard this quote that if you live on a farm and you needed eggs, you're not going to go fetch them from the cow. Meaning go straight to the source, especially when it's questions about the church that we are in, the church that we're going to. Utilize your leaders, utilize your bishop. I think more times than not, they want to be able to talk about this for you. And again, there was no divulging of anyone in the ward. There was nothing of that because that's not what I was asking. I was asking for myself, like, hey, I just need some more guidance, or can you instruct me on this particular thing? And how is this addressed? And the conversation was so great because then at the end of it, Bishop reminded me so many things go back to our faith in Jesus Christ. Why I do or say things is because of the faith I have in my Savior. And it's with that faith that I witness miracles and blessings. And again, I know I'm being vague, but it's exactly what I think is the point of this new second hour switch up. I had a question, and yes, it got answered, but it was because of that doctrinal point of faith in Jesus Christ. And that, y'all, was oh my gosh, I don't even think it was 10 minutes. It was so fast. And yet I feel like, oh my gosh, that was so deep and intellectual. And I was able to carry that into other thoughts and questions. It was so magnificent. Like, I just put that together that I'm like, wait, that's exactly what they're trying to do. That's the point of what they're trying to get, is let's get to the meat. Let's get to the source. And that is another thing, because I don't know about you guys, but I feel like there are so many voices now online, and a lot of them are criticizing the church, criticizing us. There's a lot of pointed fingers at us, and that could be, I mean, that's where I'm feeling this is why, and we need to be so sure in why we do things or why we don't do things. And again, if you have a question, go to those people within your ward, go to those people around you, your neighbors, whatnot, because we are the community that can help each other. When you get to hear someone else's testimony or reason why they do something, it almost like lifts you up and helps you find your own testimony and helps you find the spirit as to why you do something. So, wow, that was a lot. That also, again, just blew my mind when we put that together. Okay, third and final thought, and this leads into Elder Gilbert's talk. Do not give up on your loved ones. And y'all, as I was typing this, I was starting to get emotional. It could very much be the pregnancy. It could very just be the end of a long week. So I apologize if I get a little teary-eyed. In his talk, Elder Gilbert shared a lot of stories of people coming to the gospel of Jesus Christ, or better yet, coming back. And I didn't realize how much I needed to hear this encouragement. A lot of you know that my family, so outside of my main family unit, so like my parents, my siblings, it's a little bit like a reality TV show. I always say that to my friends, and to my friends who have to hear it, they know, like, I totally understand when I start talking about like, oh, what happened with my family this week, you're grabbing the popcorn and it's like, I am set. This is my reality TV show. And usually I do just laugh about that. I lean into it because I know, and I've gotten used to it. This has kind of been our life, well, for a while. But of course, sometimes it's just a little bit more harder to brush off. And that's what it's kind of been at the past few weeks and months. Now I love my parents. I love my sisters, all my siblings, because again, as y'all know, I've got some step in there, but sometimes it does. It gets lonely. And in this regard, with my main family, sometimes it gets really hard to just being the only active member in the family. And what's really hard is we all used to be there. And it was when I was so young. So I wouldn't say we were the strongest family, but I still remember going to church all together. And it's hard not to romanticize that sometimes and be like, what if that was still there? What if we could still have this strong family unit in the gospel? And again, I hate saying this sometimes because I'm like, I don't ever want to disparage my family because I love them for who they are. I love my relationships with them. But there are sometimes and some hard things that have happened where it's just like, how do I get through this one? So after going through this talk, I was reminded a lot of this in this situation with my family. It is in the Lord's timing, not mine. And it is in the Lord's way, not mine. And sometimes it might take a while. It might not be in this lifetime. And that's okay. And I know my family are good people. That does not take away from any of that. But I can trust that there will be miracles no matter what. And there's still so many, but it just gives me this talk gave me so much more faith to hold on to. And I hope it does for you too, no matter who you're looking at, whether it's a specific family member, a close friend, someone who was super active in your ward and you were so close with and now is no longer. Or maybe it's you. I feel there's just so many emotions. And I even thought, like, do I go through this point of where we talk about like, what was the point for you where it's like, I could have left, but I didn't. And what if I did, right? There's so much, but this talk, he did it so well. And he said something that just really, really stuck out to me. And this is going to what I'm kind of send out the episode with. And so I'm going to just read it directly from the talk. Feeling that we don't belong, struggling with doubts, or being limited by traditions are just a few of the reasons we don't immediately answer the call to come home. But even as societal pressures pull people away from their faith, life's deeper questions do not go away. As President Nelson taught, the truth is that it is much more exhausting to seek happiness where you can never find it. President Oaks declared that the journey home starts by re-anchoring on the Savior. Only Jesus Christ can fully restore that light and joy into your life. We all struggle. We need patience, service, and love from others. To those who are trying to help those they love, hold on to the truth. Keep your covenants. Helping others requires you to stay in your covenants. To those who are struggling to come home, know that it is your Savior who's the one calling you back. And in the end, everyone must make their own choices to come home. This was a great week. Such a great talk. I'm so grateful for this talk. And I'm grateful to go through another one this week. Please let me know any thoughts or ideas that stuck out to you. And I just love you guys. I'm so grateful you're here, and we'll see you next week. Bye.